50th City Expats Club is a non-profit social organisation and our speakers are volunteers. The club as such assumes no responsibility or liability for the professional reputation of or the quality of services provided by the speaker today.
So, g'day and swaddy Carb. Well, Ren Alexander here for the PCEC City Expat Club with travelling royalty, the 56th most travelled guy in just about history, Raywood. And mate, have you got your passport? Am I actually allowed to? Do I need a visa to interview you?
No, but this is my passport. And anyway, one of the things I pointed out in the club was that visa right there, which is a visa to South Sudan. That's the only new country in the last number of years.
And that's one country you said don't go there now.
Yes.
Is there any other countries you say don't go there now?
Oh, wow. I'm sure there are, but I don't know what they'd be.
Right, because you are really determined. If you get the chance to go into a country you haven't been to before, you're there at a moment's notice.
Ren, one of the things I didn't mention in my speech was we were in Guam years ago and we were going to Iwo Jima. And because that was on the list of the Traveler's Century Club. And there were 6 of us who were the world's most traveled people, and there was a Marine Corps general who was sitting with us. And he couldn't figure out, he was trying to figure out our group. He gained some respect from us because we were traveled. But he said to all of us, he said, no, you do listen and read all of the State Department warnings. And to a person we said, no, we don't dare read those things. We'd never go anywhere.
Yeah. But one of the things you were saying is that there are places which there may be animosity between the people, but they're not, say, directed at foreigners. So I remember I did something you're never supposed to do. I walked through 2 protests at different times in Thailand, right?
Okay.
But Thailand don't have an animosity towards foreigners.
Correct. Now, that's probably a good example, but on the other hand, you probably knew what you were doing. I mean, I wouldn't do that unless I really felt that I knew what I was doing. And of course, living here in Thailand, it's important to respect their customs and so forth. And as you know, there's some things you don't talk about, so forth.
Oh, yeah.
And so forth.
Yeah, so it is, yes, and it's very important. And you mentioned this too, that, you know, don't ask stupid questions about things that are difficult for people to talk about, or you don't want to say, for instance, anything negative against the king in Thailand. And one of the things you mentioned was if you went to, because you went to North Korea. This guy's been to North Korea. Correct. You're one of the first Americans to ever go into North Korea.
Correct. Yes, and that was quite an interesting and fun experience. And as I mentioned in the talk, I mean, those invitations would have come from the top. In other words, the father of Kim Jong-un didn't come from some lower person and whatever.
And you gave a great tip on what not to ask a tour guide in, say, for example, North Korea.
You helped me on that.
You said,
don't ask stupid questions.
A stupid question such
and
as...
you're just putting them on the spot.
Yeah, so you don't answer. You don't go to North Korea and what do you think of the president, or so Kim Jong Un, stuff that they can't say. I actually remember this is a story. Somebody said that they were one of the first musicians to go into Russia, and it said if he wanted anything in the room, you'd say just complain to an empty room, right? And they'd say, oh, gee, I really need a piano here to practice, and suddenly a piano would magically appear because the room was bugged, right?
Right.
So I guess you were pretty highly monitored when you were in North Korea, but you might not have known.
I mean, we had an agenda. We did 3 or 4 or 5 things every day. We were orchestrated through different things, and I mean, they were there to show us the best part of North Korea and so forth. So we never really, we didn't have any desire to go out on our own or anything. No. We stayed as a group. And the other thing, doing something silly might jeopardize a group, so.
Now, if you're at all interested in travel, or ever have been or ever will be, you have to listen to this talk. It's a very, almost hypnotising talk. I found it almost hypnotic about all these places he'd been to and stuff. So check out the talk, check out Ray. Super guy, a super talk. And meanwhile, it's goodbye in Swaddy Cub. Can you say goodbye in North Korean?
I cannot. Ray, thank you. You do a good job with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was a pleasure. And it was a really, really, really fantastic talk. So any interest in travel, you might travel across the internet slightly to listen to Ray talk about this amazing travel royalty, talk about travel royalty.
Anyway, it's been
Thanks,
fun.
Ray.
Thank you, Ren.